So we've been busy.
We have.
We haven't done a South Africa visit catch-up, so we're doing a quick one.
Yes.
Okay, while we can.
Yes.
As you can see, Sharon is back. She's alive.
I am. Survived.
She survived all the PCR tests and all the other stuff.
Filling in the forms at the airport was a nightmare. Because I didn't check what I needed to do. So I arrived with just enough time to check in and everything.
Okay.
And then I was told, you haven't done your forms. So I had to go online, I had to get my cell phone out with my old South African number on and make that happen. Luckily I had like 2 seconds of battery left on it and like 5 rand of airtime. Okay, it was a nightmare, let's just put it there. So coming home wasn't as pleasant as it should have been.
Okay, fair enough, okay. And you saw Mom? How's Mom?
I saw Mum. She's fine. She's not happy that I'm not visiting her every couple of weeks. So every single day I had to explain to her that it's an 11-hour journey from England to London to.
Well, actually slightly longer because you're not next to Heathrow.
No, I'm not. So it is a bit longer, and plus there's the wait in the airport. But, yeah, so she remembers and then she understands. But for my mom, it's wash, rinse, repeat.
Yes.
You just got to do the same thing every day. Remind her, then she remembers, and then you have to repeat it again.
Bless. But I do remember you saying about, because we're doing the gender-based violence and
Yes.
the incest,
Yes.
which we're passionate about.
Yes.
We've also sort of become more aware of the link to bullying. So we're doing a podcast on bullying. And I do remember you mentioning how your mum was bullied and how it sort of still affects her.
It does. So my mum was one of 8 children. She had 6 brothers, and I think the older 2 were more inclined to bully her. The brother just older than her, Sydney, he teased her relentlessly. He was just that kind of person. He loved to tease. He teased her constantly and used to pull the heads off her dollies and kick it around like a football, and found that hilariously funny. My mum, we've spoken about redheads and
Yes.
that kind of thing before. She was teased at school for her red hair. She, I don't know, she just, growing up amongst boys, she needed her mother to actually step in and protect her, and her mother didn't do that. So she was always teased by the boys and not protected like a little girl should be.
I think the other thing is to see how long-lasting effects are. There's definitely some are clients and some are, people, acquaintances, others are friends. And that definitely, it perpetuates, it permeates their lives.
It does.
Especially if they're young. And I think that's it's so sad. Because it really is just a moment in time.
And
even if it exists for a few years, it's still actually a small percentage of your life. When you look back,
Yeah, because her mom passed away, I think, when she was about 18. And the bullying had definitely stopped by then. But she still felt vulnerable in that household. And she married my dad, I think, when she was about 21, I think. And I was born shortly after that. Shortly after they got married, probably a year after they got married. And throughout my school years, I remember my mum being the mum who came to school. Anything happened, my mum came to school, and even the kids used to be petrified of her.
I remember us being slightly petrified of her.
Everyone was scared of my mum. I have school friends who still say, "Oh, that Roykop."
Yeah.
Which is the Afrikaans word for it. They were petrified of her because her mother never fought any of her battles or dealt with any of her things, for her. So she kind of made up for that by being there for us. And so, it's just, I probably overcompensated because I think I was quite capable of dealing with my own stuff. I don't believe I was ever bullied. Probably because of the mother.
Yeah, nobody take the risk.
Only would dare. But she's now 80, and she talks about all the drama she had as a child constantly. So she's never actually overcome it or been able to deal with it.
And then
long-term effects.
Yeah. And then, what was your feedback as far as gender-based violence in South Africa when you were there?
So, before I left, we were talking about raising funds and starting a campaign there to raise awareness for gender-based violence. And it's quite amazing actually, because when I left South Africa in September to immigrate to the UK, there were stirrings about gender-based violence, raising awareness and doing this and that. By the time I got back in the end of January, it was all over. It was on billboards. The Spa is a chain of stores. On all their shopping bags, they now have paper bags. On all those paper bags, it's gender-based violence. Stop the gender-based violence. It's all over now.
Which is amazing. It's just fantastic.
Wonderful. No, it's wonderful. There's sponsors for it all over to raise awareness. There were some high visibility trials that were going on of men who had murdered their girlfriends. Yes. One was a pregnant woman who had been murdered by her boyfriend. So they were just giving these things full coverage in the news, and these guys were getting the full wrath of the law. So I think that somehow in those 4 or 5 months that I was away, just suddenly everything broke loose. So it was definitely getting high visibility at that time. So,
which I find incredibly exciting.
It's wonderful. It's wonderful. It was. I'm not a person who watches terrestrial TV. So I didn't see any adverts and things like that. I don't watch sport, so I don't see television where there's adverts. A friend of mine, I went to visit her and her hubby was watching the golf, and I saw a couple of adverts, but those are adverts related to golf, so it's insurance and that kind of thing. So I didn't see any adverts relating to gender-based violence, so I don't know if there are any. Perhaps if anyone's watching our podcast or listening to our podcast,
give us some feedback.
They could perhaps give us some feedback whether there are any. So that would be very interesting to know. But I can honestly say that it was very visible in the Western Cape. I think I was a bit tired, and I'd gotten some news about my aunt passing away when I was in Johannesburg, so I wasn't focused on other stuff. But I spent 2 weeks in Cape Town, so there I noticed everything, and I was more focused there.
Which is fantastic. Really good feedback.
It's really good.
Super. So Warren's over at the moment?
No, he's leaving next week.
So Warren is Sharon's brother, and he's going to go. He also resides in the UK, and he's going to go visit Mum. So, so he's going to remind her why you haven't come to visit. She's so lovely. Although she was scary, I do remember that as a kid.
Very frightening lady.
Yeah, pint-sized, but
yes.
Anyway, that's our catch-up for Sharon's South African visit, and we'll keep you posted.